Hi, this is Dr. Claire, and this is a lecture on homeostasis. So homeostasis is a trait of living organisms that many of them have, where they are able to maintain conditions within the organism at an optimal level that allows for life. So if you're thinking about the cells within a body, cells have particular conditions they need in order to survive and reproduce and thrive and do well. So those could be things such as temperature, pH levels, salt levels, water levels. All of these things need to be maintained. And if you go too far in either direction, then that's bad for the cell. So if you get too hot, that is bad. If you get too cold, that is bad. So you need to stay right in the middle there in that happy medium in order to maintain the health of your body. All right. So all of these different factors are going to be maintained at a homeostatic level, at an optimal level, by tweaking them gently one way or another. And you don't have like a set level where you never fluctuate. Like, for example, the average human temperature is 98.6 degrees, but at some moments you might be 97, and at other moments you might be 99, and your body is constantly adjusting and correcting for any fluctuations. Okay, so a lot of different factors can be maintained in homeostasis. So in addition to temperature, salt levels, sugar levels in the case of animals, hormone levels, all of these different things can be maintained in homeostasis. There's a lot of different things. That homeostasis is necessary, and if you can't maintain the homeostasis, then that usually will result in the death of the organism. So for example, if you're talking about a mammal such as ourselves, like this dude in the water here, he's getting cold, and eventually he's not going to be able to maintain homeostasis in his body. He's not going to be able to maintain his internal body temperatures, and he's going to die. So you can go out of homeostasis for a short period of time, but if you can't get back to that homeostatic level, then eventually the organism will die. All right. So let's take a look at how at an analogy that helps to understand this and helps to understand the components of homeostasis. So homeostasis is usually maintained through what's called negative feedback. In negative feedback, you have what we call a set point. So you have the homeostatic level that you are trying to stay at, right? So for example, if we're a human, 98.6 degrees, right? You can think of this like the thermostat in your house. You set the temperature in your house for a temperature that you think is comfortable. Let's say 75 degrees, all right? Then you have sensors. So sensors detect the current conditions. So in the case of your house, your sensors will detect the actual temperature in your house. Then you have an integration center. Now the integration center compares the set point to the information from the sensors, so the information from the actual house. So you set it for 75, because I like my house at 65, but I'm weird. Set it for 75. It's actually 55. It's too cold, right? So then you need to compare those two. So the integration sensor is going to compare those two things, and then the integration sensor will send a signal to an effector, and the effector will bring the level back up to the set point. So in the case of the house, the effectors would be your AC unit and your heater. So when you're at 65, there's a signal sent to the heater. That's the effector. It kicks on, it warms up the house till you get back to 75, and then it turns off. If you were at, say, 95, the air conditioning unit would kick on, bring the temperature back down to 75, and then it would turn off. So it can go in either way. And that's why it's called the negative feedback, is because you compare those two things, and then you have a signal sent to bring the conditions back to the set point. So that's why it's called a negative feedback loop. So this leads to what's called a dynamic equilibrium. So your house is not always exactly 75 degrees. It might be 73, it might be 71. It fluctuates. But whenever you get too far from that set point, either your AC is going to kick on or your heater is going to kick on. It's going to bring it back in that negative feedback cycle, bring it back to that set point again. Okay? So let's take a look at a biological example. We'll look at temperature in humans. So the set point would be the body temperature that is normal for your species. In our case, it would be 98.6 degrees. The sensor in the case of the human is the hypothalamus, which are these neurons at the base of the brain And the neurons in the hypothalamus can detect a change in temperature. So when the temperature deviates from 98.6, 98.6 is also 37 degrees Celsius. So when the temperature deviates, neurons in the hypothalamus detect that change, and then they compare that with the set point where your temperature should be. All right. So if your temperature is too high, if you compare and your temperature is above that 37 degrees Celsius, then the hypothalamus will send signals to effectors in your body to lower your temperature. So those are, it's going to cause blood vessels in your skin to dilate, so you get flushed, you look pink, you start to sweat. That allows water to evaporate from your skin, that cools your skin, and then the increased blood flow to your skin brings that cool blood back to the body and lowers the body temperature. All right, and your body temperature it drops, and you're back to your set point again. Again, if you go the other direction, if the set point is below 37 degrees, or sorry, not set point, if the actual body temperature is below 37 degrees, the hypothalamus makes that comparison and it sends signals to other effectors. The blood vessels in your skin will contract. You may notice that your skin gets very pale sometimes when you're cold. You may shiver. Those muscle contractions when you shiver create heat as a waste product, and that will warm up your body. Your body temperature will rise, and then when you get back to the set point, those effectors will stop. All right, so that's how homeostasis works, and I'll catch you next time.